So we've had our introduction. We've had our 2 rounds of ACT prep going over whatnot. So you took a test. You're supposed to, and I went over in 2 days. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some serious remediation. But don't feel bad about this. All right, I picked this book up. This book is awesome. All right, everything you need to ace English in one big notebook, but it says middle school. That's okay. Yes, you're supposed to know this stuff from middle school. This is a remediation. We're going to go back over quite a bit of issues with grammar and just some other things that I think are important over the course of at least this lesson and probably tomorrow's lesson as well. We're going to see how far we get into it because it's a lot of material to cover. I highly suggest you buy this book. It's excellent. It doesn't matter if you're a senior in high school. It doesn't matter if you're a college student. This stuff is a good refresher because grammar, that's all the ACT English is, period. So we're going to just go over this, and I've uploaded all of these files to the Webster Parish portal, so you can pull it off and study it on your own. And again, yes, I want to thank... well, there's no author, but it says everything you need right here. Buy this book, buy this book, buy this book. I'm going to start teaching out of it in class. So pull the files up, go over them as I go over them, and we're going to do better. We're going to get that grammar set up, that grammar skill up. Just some real basic stuff. Now, as you know, by all the colorful decorations and everything, it seems to be for a younger audience. Well, that's fine because a lot of you are struggling with these basic things on the ACT because I see the scores and I know the scores nationwide. So we're going to just refresh today. So we're going to start with phrases and clauses. Phrase is a group of words that acts as a single part of speech. Phrase can act like any part of speech such as a noun, adjective, adverb, or preposition. Phrase never includes a subject or the sentence acting through the verb. The preposition is a word or group of words that shows direction, location, time, or introduces an object. All right. So, examples. Group of words, act like a noun. Martinique's favorite sweater, yada, yada, yada. Group of words, acting like an adjective. Sazika found the sunset to be heart-stoppingly beautiful. For adverb, for class. Percy took his lizard into the house. Preposition. Types of phrases, this is all just a basic noun, verb, adverb, adjective. You can go over this because I've uploaded it on to the portal. Verb phrase, all right. You can see all this. This is basic stuff that I'm not going to go over, but you can refresh it on your own. Clause. A clause is a group of words that includes at least a subject and a verb. This is important when we get to compound, complex sentences. These are all over the ACT. A clause always contains a subject that acts through a verb. How to tell clauses and phrases apart. A phrase doesn't have a subject that acts through a verb. That's a dependent. All right. A clause does have a subject that acts through a verb. Examples. Phrase. In the nick of time. No verb, so it's phrase. Tripping merrily along. No subject, so it's phrase. Before the summer ended. Summer is doing something. It's ending, so it's clause. Okay? Clauses make up a pretty wide category, but they are categorized into 2 groups to help us work with them. Independent and dependent. So what I mentioned earlier. Independent clause are clauses that can stand alone. Basically, they are sentences. I went to the bonfire after the game. I went to the bonfire could be a standalone sentence, and thus it is an independent clause. Dependent clauses are clauses that cannot stand alone. When the circus gets to town, we'll go to see the elephants. When the circus gets to town, could not be a full sentence. All right? Types of dependent clauses. 3 types. Noun clause, adjective clause, adverb clause. Independent and dependent clauses and how they are punctuated are all over the ACT. We went over that in our previous videos. This is what I meant when I talked about independent and dependent clauses. Misplaced modifier is a phrase or clause in the wrong place, so no one knows what the phrase or clause is supposed to modify. This is what I was talking about being confusing. You didn't know what you were talking about. This is part of the ACT. Greta smelled the meatloaf coming into the house for dinner. Okay, what? What is she talking about here? All right, does the meatloaf come into the house? Is she smelling the meatloaf when she comes into the house? This sentence doesn't make sense. It may sound like it makes sense to you, but it's grammatically incorrect. That was on the ACT. How to fix it. Make sure modifiers are close to what they modify and near anything else, and not near anything else that may modify it to eliminate confusion. All right. Coming into the house for dinner, comma, Greta smelled the meatloaf. All right. Greta is the subject coming into the house, so the phrase should be closer to her than to the meatloaf. Now it's too far from the meatloaf for anyone to get confused. Dangling modifier, a phrase or a clause that modifies something that is not even in the sentence. Again, no one has a clue what the phrase or the clause is supposed to modify. Excited about the first game of the season, Javi's hockey skates sat in the front hall ready to be worn. Are the skates excited? Is Javi excited? This is how it's mixed up, all right? ACT, it's on there. Believe it or not, this basic stuff is on there. You should have seen it already, and you missed it, maybe. Make sure the phrase modifies is actually in the sentence. Example, excited about the first game of the season, Javi kept his hockey skates in the front hall ready to be worn. Javi's skates can't get excited, but Javi can. Compound and complex sentences. Y'all, this is basic stuff that you should have already learned, but I know a lot of you haven't. So the reason why I keep saying this is because some of you are going to probably be watching this and saying, I cannot believe he's going over this basic stuff. That's fine. If you already know it, more power to you. But I know a lot of the students here haven't. That's why I'm going over this simple stuff. Don't forget that a simple sentence contains a subject and a verb and a complete idea. Phrases and clauses can be added to simple sentences in many ways. Examples. So, phrases and clauses can also create compound and complex sentences. A compound sentence contains two or more independent clauses. Each clause could be its own sentence. A complex sentence contains an independent clause or one or more dependent clauses. Clauses in a compound or complex sentence are connected by a coordinating conjunction, which is a conjunction that appears between words, phrases, or clauses that are grammatically similar or have equal importance in the sentence. Some conjunctions are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Fanboys. I've done TikToks about fanboys. I've done Instagram posts about fanboys, and I've talked about it on the ACT practices we did yesterday. When you are making a compound sentence, you have to use one of these coordinating conjunctions. All right? Fanboys. Here's an example. Independent clause. The girl walked in the door. In other words, if you put a period right there, it'll be a sentence. It can stand on its own. Her mother gave her a huge hug. That's also an independent clause. To join those together, comma, coordinating conjunction. All right. If you like formulas, try thinking of it like this. Independent clause plus coordinating conjunction plus independent clause equals compound sentence. Sometimes the clauses in a complex sentence are connected by subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunction, also known as a subordinate conjunction, links a dependent clause to an independent clause. So what's the difference between subordinating conjunctions and coordinating conjunctions? While coordinating conjunctions join clauses of equal importance, subordinating conjunctions make one clause subordinate to or independent or dependent on the other. Often a subordinating clause will show a time, place, or cause, etc. Examples. Independent clause. Her mother gave her a huge smile because she had gotten there just in time. Dependent clause that shows time. Once I cleaned my room, I was allowed to go to the movies. Many of the same conjunctions are subordinate and coordinating conjunctions, so the important thing to remember is simply that you need conjunctions to connect independent and dependent clauses. A compound complex sentence is made up of two or more independent clauses or one or more dependent clauses. Because she had gotten there just in time, dependent clause, she was able to help her mother finish cooking, comma, coordinating conjunction, so they were also able to play a quick game together. So we got two independent clauses and one dependent clause. That's a compound complex sentence. Here's another example down here. Okay, I think we're going to pause. We're going to stop this lesson today, and we're going to pick up tomorrow with the rest of it so we don't get too burned out. So hold on. That's a brief lesson about just basic Grammar, stuff that you need to know, stuff that you may have forgotten. Refresher. We're going to pick up tomorrow with a brief lesson where we're going to finish that little packet. It's there for you to have. Download it, refer back to it. Till I see you tomorrow, it's a great day to be a warrior.